Landis to drive, swatted off the backboard by Regneris. Bulldogs push to Cam. He'll go to the line for one more. Gathers right circle. Schweiger leaves it for Westrick. Over to Bates. Shot scores on the power play. Braden Bates, the sophomore defenseman, makes too strong. Fight for the rebound on the floor. Maynard has it ripping away up top for Titus. Zeros across the scoreboard, and Jennison has won. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Breslin Center and game night on Michigan Sports Radio. Nate Dreyer, Chandler Timmer with you here. Kicking around corner, Stockwell again, and one! Right elbow, skips the right corner to Watson, catch and shoot three, splash! Muskegon has taken the lead, 47-46. His right-hand hook shot, no good! Ball hangs above the rim, Tyron Thomas skies and tomahawks home the rebound, 40-36 Northview. The play of the day from Tyron Thomas. Hey everyone, Nate Dreyer, Michigan Game Night, and welcome to a special edition of Coach's Corner as we get ready to preview the 2023-2024 basketball season with the head coach of the Grandville Bulldogs, Desmond Young, getting to a lot of different things in our interview. It's an interview that'll be a part of our pregame coverage for kind of the games from the first week of the upcoming regular season, so make sure you check that out as the Bulldogs have a lot of new pieces certainly coming in. Not going to do a full kind of preseason tailgate report with this as we're right on the edge of the season, the quick turnaround on things. But we are ready to get this season certainly underway. First look at our December schedule. Tuesday the 5th, we'll be there for the Grandville boys season opener. Video coverage we will have as Grandville takes on East Grand Rapids in a really interesting ball game there. And then Saturday, we are planning on we'll be at Van Ord Arena and Calvin University. Michigan Sports Radio, likely you're going to see all day-long coverage of all four events at the Invite. MGN and Game Night on Michigan Sports Radio. You can expect to see the first couple games with us, Grandville taking on Unity Christian, and then Grand Rapids Christian and Hudsonville. So both of those games should be a ton of fun. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to a couple different things also in terms of figuring out maybe even some video coverage for that. Who knows how things will all play out, but we're working on getting all of that done. We'll be TBD for the rest of the month, for the rest of the schedule. Like we've done in the past during basketball and the winter season, hockey season, you will find us kind of week by week releasing what we're doing. We have a lot of interesting potential ideas between basketball games, some showcases, and different things coming up in December. Maybe even some hockey. I know Grandville Hockey's playing at Munn Ice Arena in Michigan State one weekend. Maybe we'll do something there. There's a lot of variables with hockey in terms of kind of what other coverage and things are done a little bit differently by different teams sometimes. So we've got some different things to all figure out, and we'll be getting to that here throughout the month of December. Then once you get in the regular season between Grandville, maybe some Zeeland coverage as well, and some different other things. We'll kind of week by week get that figured out. So make sure you check that all out on MGN going on ahead. And it all starts Tuesday, Grandville versus Grand Rapids. No further ado, here's Coach's Corner with Desmond Young, head coach of the Grandville Bulldogs. And welcome back, everyone, to Game Night on Michigan Sports Radio and MGN. And welcome to Coach's Corner, first edition of the basketball season. It is the head coach of the Grandville Bulldogs, now entering his third season as the bench boss of the Bulldogs. It is Desmond Young joining us here today. First off, Coach, how are you? How excited are you for the season right around the corner here?
I'm doing well. I can't complain at all. You know what? I'm very excited to enter my third year and get things rolling.
Yeah, and let's get into that third year because there's so many things to talk about. Let's kind of start with a bit of the 1,000-foot view, I guess, of this season. When you look at your team, losing a lot of pieces, from last year's team, a couple guys coming back, long off season. Tell me about kind of the work that the guys have put in and your excitement for how this year's mix kind of on the whole is going to get to play out.
You know what I mean. You brought up a good point for me. I lost this past season. I lost a couple key pieces in guard play, but when I returned two kids that, well, actually three kids that played some minutes last year. Then my big fella Cam Regneris, he returns for his senior year. So those him and then a couple others, Corbin Heckman and Colin Habor, those kids played significant minutes. So they kind of know how I do things and how we do things, and the work that they put in this summer and this fall has just been tremendous.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned Cam Regneris. Let's start there. Obviously, now a signee with Grand Valley State, so I'm excited to see him go and play for my my alma mater going ahead. But tell us about, we've seen the year-over-year growth out of Cam.
Yeah.
Tell us about this offseason and how much better you think he even has a chance to maybe be going into his senior season.
You know what? It's for him. It's a coach's dream, because most coaches, and when they're dealing with like your best players and stuff like that, they have to get them to work defensively and all that kind of stuff. For me, I haven't had to basically do much with him defensively. He's his own motor defensively. So for me, it's all been about offensively. So like this year, I think his offensively package that he will have will help us in a way. He won't be just a post player and stuff like that. You'll see a lot of him on the perimeter and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and alongside him in the front court, I think it's one of the big stories about the team this year is how many returners at forward you have, a transfer coming in as well. You can talk more about him. A really interesting mix in the front court. Tell us a little bit about the other forwards and how things will be lining up at the 3 and 4 spot.
It's with our 4-man Corbin Heckman. He returns, man. He was with Cam. He came in with Cam as a sophomore. He's played some varsity minutes. He started all of last year except towards the end of the year. So he's going to be playing a lot of minutes. And we end up getting a transfer in from Indiana, Caden Neves. It's crazy. Like a kid just pops in from, a different state and just ends up in Grandville, So that was pretty interesting, but he'll probably be our 3-man, and then Colin Habor, who was a sophomore for me last year, now a junior. He's a 6'6" wing. He'll probably be on the wing as well. So
yeah, and I mean, like, if you know anything about Indiana high school basketball, Caden, where he's from in Fishers, that's a year-over-year, like, top-level program, and, of course, a basketball crazy state in Indiana. So to get a kid like that to join the program, just adds so much. So on the other side of things, the backcourt, losing essentially 3 college players from that backcourt. I know you've got a couple of underclassmen on the roster, a couple guys that returned that we saw limited minutes a year ago. What are things going to look like, start of the year, and probably evolving with some young players as well in the backcourt?
It's crazy, because if anybody knows basketball, if you have a really good backcourt, you can be successful. And our current backcourt has very limited experience. It's been a big fall, but it was also a big summer for some of these guys, just to be able to just spend some time with them in the month of June, going to some team camps and having them just get their feet wet some, and then, now the season's here and I got a senior in the backcourt. I got another junior that's coming up from the JV team. We ended up getting another kid that transferred in. That's a freshman. He's going to be up on the varsity as well. Carter Wade is his name. He transferred from Langsburg. He won't be healthy until the middle of December. So it's going to be a work in progress, with our backcourt. And hopefully, hopefully our returners and our front court can help our backcourt get adjusted in a way as well.
Hey, Grandville head coach Desmond Young joining us here. And coach, you take a look at that kind of mix and you talk about that with the backcourt. Sets up perfectly for this next question. we know the identity of this team the last couple years, and the great guard play, the incredible defensive play that you guys bring, especially in man-to-man every single night. This year, moving away from the guard play, adding some more size. How do you think there might be some evolution maybe to some extent? Obviously going to stick to that identity as much as possible, but how might this team look a little bit different than the first 2 years of your tenure here at Grandville?
I think our team will be a better shooting team.
Okay.
I think we'll shoot a lot more threes. I think with our height and our length, we can do some other things defensively that I have not done with since I've been here. But I think overall, offensively, we're a better shooting team than we have in the last 2 years. Now, I don't think, as of right now, we're not the same defensive team as we had been the last 2 years either. But, when you have somebody in Cam in the middle that he can protect us a little bit, I think we can, maneuver and we can figure it out.
Yeah. And the start of your schedule this year, I mean, you've traditionally had difficult starts and difficult non-conference, along with a really tough OK Red. Tell us about the value of scheduling. I mean, starting off with East Grand Rapids Unity Christian, Forest Hills Central, playing Grand Rapids Christian later in the year in the non-conference. What is the value of seeing that really, really tough schedule to prep the team?
You know what? Because for me, it's building. I'm building the program. You want to get these kids exposed to everything that's around our area, but also too, you want to be in a position to, try to be prepared by time districts come and all that good stuff. I mean, we know how the formula works with district seedings and all that stuff. And then when you get that conference play, you know how tough our OK Red conference is. You're in a dogfight every night. So it's the I shouldn't say preseason, but the non-conference schedule is very important for, just the overall success for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, Coach, kind of to wrap things up, in terms of your coaching staff, you probably know where I'm going with this question. You've been able to retain a lot of the key pieces from last year, but you do have a new assistant coach, former Michigan standout Jon Teske, this year one of your assistant coaches. Tell us, where did that relationship come from, and how excited is he and you to have him as part of this?
It's funny that you asked that question, where the relationship came from. We have mutual. Well, one of my friends, is his cousin, and his cousin asked me, what if he said Jon Teske wants to get involved with a local high school team, and I said what, and I couldn't believe it, and I was like, well, let me sit down and talk to him. As soon as I sat down and talked to him, and like John and I hit it off, and it's been great. Having him a part of our staff has just been obviously wonders for our big guys, because he's played at a high level, and he can relate to some of these kids that something that I can't do or anybody else in my staff can do from that position standpoint. But the overall, him wanting to be here every single day has been great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. My first, like you mentioned, the big guys, my first thought goes to Cam Regneris has already been such a stud. Now he gets to have a guy like Jon Teske teaching him and learning more. It certainly is exciting, and it's going to be such an exciting year. Coach, thanks as always so much for your time, and good luck in the early part of the season. Can't wait to see how all these pieces start getting put together, because I think it's going to be a really exciting team to watch this year.
Thank you for having me again.
All right, head coach Desmond Young of the Grandville Bulldogs here on Game Night.
We are Centennial Securities,
an independent firm with a team of committed professionals
who strive to exceed our clients' expectations by giving outstanding service.
We're proud to be part of our community where we live and work.
Upgrade to Music Jams Premium to get uninterrupted listening on all your favorite tunes. Click here to start your 7-day free trial.
If it's important, it's not worth compromising. Which is why with Farmers, you don't have to compromise quality to get great savings on your insurance. I got this.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
All right, thanks again to Coach Young. Let's wrap up this kind of mini Coach's Corner special preseason edition right here. Again, Week 1, Grandville versus East Grand Rapids Tuesday. MGN coverage, video coverage of that one as the Bulldog Boys, the new look Bulldog Boys, open up their season, and then a couple games from the invite, all coming up for a really exciting first week of the basketball season on MGN. We had a full week off. 10 days, I think it'll total be between the end of football season, getting right back at it. But that's why we love it so much and getting rolling on it. Of course, thanks to Centennial Securities and to Farmers Insurance, our presenting sponsors that help make all of it happen and hopefully are able to help us bring everything we do. But what a season, by the way, that we're looking at. First off, this Grandville team, and you can kind of go beyond what Coach Young said. They have got a lot of question marks. But the thing about this Bulldogs team, I think, this year is they have so many question marks, yes, but that could be a good thing because if they answer those question marks well, if they answer those question marks in the way that I think they likely will answer those question marks, this is going to be a very, very good basketball team that's going to have a chance to do some really special things and contend in an OK Red that is tougher than it's been, honestly, even in a couple years, and I know what I'm saying when I say that. We know how tough the OK Red is, and the Bulldogs such a tough non-conference schedule as well with those teams that they add on. But you look at the OK Red, East Kentwood brings a team that Coach Thomas has got a team that state championship, I think, has got to be in mind for them. When you think about how far they made it last year, how much they took a Muskegon team to the brink in that game in a lot of ways, played with an edge down the stretch as well, did East Kentwood, but they bring back the terrific junior duo in the backcourt, Tompkins and Hatchett come back. Of course, Christian Humphrey Rembert is shortly here going to be making his college announcement. He's back for his senior year, a lot of other guys, and of course, Coach Thomas has got multiple state championships. So East Kentwood is the reigning champs. They come back as the favorites again, but you never know. Rockford, under Coach Clough, they always find a way. Andrew Landis and other great shooters, they just regenerate down at Rockford. It seems like they always have 10 players that are of the exact same mold, maybe even some brothers that kind of come through. They regenerate. They do things well. Hudsonville was a team that made it to the regional championship last year, a little bit under the radar last year. They won't be under the radar this year. You think about, Shamray and Daniels as he comes back for his sophomore year, McFall, all under Coach Elliott. They were a team that looked a little bit different last year, a little bit quicker, a little bit, there were different moments, then they slowed it down. They played their style in the playoffs. They're going to be interesting, and if there's one team that I think is going to really push East Kentwood, I think Hudsonville is going to surprise some people, not surprise people, but I think they'll be there. The question marks then around Grandville. What is Caledonia going to be? New head coach Lamar Chavin, he brought a couple transfers. They've got like 3 or 4 freshmen up on the varsity roster. So what is Caledonia going to look like? Kind of rebuilding. West Ottawa got a win to start their year. Will you see improvement? Grand Haven, they lost a lot of pieces, but Coach Emick always has that team ready to play, and they regenerate guys. Will Jennison always seems to play a tough, grinding style that finds a way to steal a couple wins during the year. So the OK Red is as tough as ever. And West Michigan, if you're going based on Division I talent, this has got to be the best year we've had. I mean, when I'm thinking back, I've been covering West Michigan high school sports, high school basketball, football since, when I was in high school, 2014, 15, 16, thinking about being at game night since 2017, 18. This might be, in terms of D1 talent, one of the best years West Michigan's had in a very, very long time. You think about the invite that we're going to be doing next Saturday alone. Cam Regneris, we'll call him D2 going to Grand Valley. As a Grand Valley grad, I'm hoping that maybe we'll see where things are trending, but maybe he will be a D1 player without even transferring by a couple years into his run. You never quite know there for Coach Cornell Mann and the Lakers what the future of that program is. But Grand Valley, regardless, it's D2, but it's the top echelon of Division II, certainly. But then you think about Grand Rapids Christian, Jalen Owinga, D1 player. Northview has the Ryans brothers, both going to be D1 players. Of course, Darrell Brooks at Grand Rapids Catholic Central, committed to Michigan. South Christian has Carson Viss. He'll be choosing from a long list of schools by the time he gets to be a senior. So all of those guys going to be in action just on the first week of the year that we're going to see. But then you think even more beyond that, all the players, Aldrich at Zeeland West. I mean, Zeeland West, a team that I think we saw quite a bit last year, we'll probably see quite a few times this year, as well, signed to Indiana State. And, if you want to be a skilled inside-out power forward, I guess go to where Larry Bird went. So a good call for him there. So, I mean, there are so many good players in West Michigan. It's so stacked. We're going to get just doing Grandville games before we even get into spacing things out and doing more of our game of the week and our highlighted coverage. We're going to be just seeing teams across the area. I haven't even talked about Muskegon. They lost 3 great players, but they've got a lot back. And, you'd have to assume that Coach Guy is going to have a state championship quality team once again. So, man, it's exciting. West Michigan's looking really good. The OK Reds looking really good. And again, the first week of the year, we've got Tuesday coverage on the 5th, Grandville, East Grand Rapids, video coverage, myself and Chandler Timmer. And then we'll be back on Saturday from the Invite. Plan is that we'll have those first 2 games, Grandville versus Unity, and then Hudsonville versus Grand Rapids Christian. Michigan Sports Radio will have the rest of the day, some other really good matchups as I think it's Catholic Central and Northview. And then South Christian and Rockford to close the day. So some really good games throughout the day for certain to keep an eye on. Man, cannot wait to get underway. And, of course, it all happens so quick and it starts so quick. Boys first this year in terms of the schedule starting, and also on Friday nights. I think many people will, of course, kind of have their opinions. And, I know the MHSA's hands are tied on that, but I certainly think it's one thing to editorialize that, hopefully we'll be able to move to a point where we can find that it's probably the most equitable and fair for everyone for boys to get to play second on the Friday night doubleheaders all the time, just in terms of what some of the crowds look like between both of the games and the opportunities for both the boys and the girls to have the best atmospheres. I think this year it's still great, but you're starting the game that typically gets a little bit higher crowd depending on where you are right away at 6 o'clock, and then they may unfairly leave for the girls game that falls. And I think the other way around, I mean, even having a sister that had played high school basketball and her opinions and talking to other players, I think it's something that hopefully we can get changed. And that's a little bit of your tailgate report-esque comments made going on ahead. But regardless, a lot of excitement for this year, and part of all of that comes into the fact that we start with boys basketball right away. I mean, we're starting a week late even having games. So all of that certainly very exciting. That's enough of a diatribe. Follow at MI Game Night on social media. And check us out, MichiganSportsRadio.com/MGN, MichiganGameNight.com. In order to find us, check out the merch shop. We've got new merch, Grandville versus everyone, with or without the Power T formation on there. If you're a Grandville fan, great option for certain. Christmas coming on up, maybe a good gift idea for any Bulldogs in your life. So that, plenty more in the MGN shop. Make sure you check all that out through MichiganGameNight.com. All right, that's enough. Thanks again to Coach Young. This was a Coach's Corner Special 2023-2024 Grandville basketball preview here on MGN and the Michigan Game Night YouTube page.